Hello and welcome to Model Railroading for Dummies, the how-to show for model railroading dummies just like me. Now, next project that we're going to do on my layout is we need to ballast a section for my little yard or area because it's not ballasted yet. About the only area of this layout that's not ballasted. Now, I know that a lot of people hate ballasting. And it can be a little bit annoying, especially in the smaller scales when you gotta be extra careful, like say around turnouts and such. So today I'm going to show you how I ballast. I know I showed you a little bit in a previous episode, one of the earliest ones actually, but this episode we're going to dedicate entirely to ballasting. One thing to note, there are two different ways of ballasting, or when to ballast. Number one is to do it basically the first thing before you do any other scenery around. And that's fine. The other practice is to do it after all the other scenery work is in. And that works too. There are advantages both. With the latter method, the advantage is that the ballast goes over the top of the scenery. And so it feathers in a little bit easier. So that's one advantage there. And that's really nice for, say, if you've got high profile ballast, you know, class 1 railroads and such. Railroads that wouldn't have any weeds on the tracks. However, say you're third class in some regional railroads, or not so well kept branch lines or such, you might want to do the ballasting first so that the scenery starts going over top of the ballast. So it gets the effect that there's a lot of weeds growing in the ballast and such. So for the most part, it really depends on your personal interests. And if you're doing any tunnels, make sure you ballast first. That's number one rule. And if you're hand laying track, I would recommend ballasting first before you put the rails on, because that's where it gets real tricky. I mean, if you didn't have any rails, I would definitely recommend ballasting first, because then it's real easy just to get it all nice and smooth and everything. But today we're going to be ballasting first, because that's generally what I usually do, just because it makes the track look so much better. And it makes the track look, it makes you look less on the track itself and the plastickiness of the rail ties. And the ballast helps you to ignore any deficiencies in the looks of the track itself. So, without any further ado, let's head over to the layout and start working. Okay, here we are at the layout. Now, one of the first things you have to do before ballasting your track is to make sure your track is where you want it to be. This is one of the advantages of doing the ballast last, or one of the later things you do, because then you're sure of where your track's going to go. So, like, one thing you really got to look out for is where your building's going to go. How are they going to fit in and such? So, like, for example, I have this cold storage building here. And originally, I actually didn't give myself quite enough space because I went by the floor plan and it did not include these little bellows here for the doors. So that means that I had to do a little finagling. I had to cut the very end of this turnout out a little bit so I could kind of scooch the track over just enough to make it fit so that my locomotive can come in here and pick up the boxcar back here without hitting the doors. So, you definitely want to make sure that your cars will fit in the space before you start ballasting. It will make your life a whole lot easier. So, once you're sure where your track's going to go, then you can start ballasting. Unfortunately, I have no places where I need to put cork roadbed down, otherwise I would show that to you. But I don't. So we're going to deal with it. Okay, one thing you're going to want to do when laying track is save your ties so that you could put them in here when start laying track. Now this spot here I think is only going to need one tie. This one here, I'll keep it. Slip a tie in here. You need one more. Here we go. I don't know why, but I can't find my rail ties. There, we got double the one there. Now that we got our rail ties, let's start ballasting. First of all, I think we'll ballast this siding here. Okay, now our tools to start out with is a little plastic spoon, a 1-inch foam brush, and we're going to be using Arizona Rock and Minerals Chicago Northwestern Santa Fe HO scale ballast, even though it has a woodland stainless sticker on it. So, I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to pour a whole bunch in the cap here, rather than trying to scoop it up all the stuff. So, just, I think I better move the camera, otherwise my arm is going to be in the way. Okay, let's get the building all the way. Try not to spill the entire spoonful. So I just pour some in. Okay, so as you can see here, the track is just laid right down on the plaster, because this corner was a little bit low and my cars kept on wanting to run into the wall. So I had to build it up so it'll be somewhat level, and it's not perfectly level, but at least the cars don't roll around anymore. But for a siding here, they wouldn't be near as picky on keeping ballast off the ties. So you need to be as picky as, say, on the main line, because they don't keep sidings near as well groomed. So just places that need a little bit more ballast, just put a little bit on. There. Now I got it in between the web of the rails. Now let's just go on the outside here. Just sort of tap it on. And I just realized I forgot to paint this area black before I put the ballast on, which is what I would recommend. Paint it all black or brown or whatever your base color is, so that if the ballast happens to poke on through, if the base pokes on through, it will not show so much. Fortunately, it's a gray, so it won't matter too much. I tinted the plasters to be darker. Okay, now, once again, we take the brush and get it off the ties. Scooch up the ballast a little bit. Okay, now we'll just take a little ballast and fill in a few areas that didn't get quite enough ballast. Okay, now next step, let's add some weeds. First of all, we'll go back to our old friend, Woodland Scenics Blended Turf Green Blend. Okay, here's a tip that I'm gonna try out. So I don't know if it's a tip or a tip for, hey, this works great, or hey, don't try this. I've got, you know, these little shaker things for spices and stuff. I'm going to try and use one of these to distribute some ground turf. So what I'm going to do is take a spoonful of this stuff, or a couple spoonfuls. Hey, it actually kind of looks like a green spice or something. Okay. So, hey, that works good. Okay, so this is going to be this is a cool tool that costs you nothing, because it's just going to be thrown in the garbage anyways. Ooh, it just gives a nice, real nice coat. So, tip. Save these. Make sure you ask your mother or wife or whoever, or even if you're using yourself, save these. Clean them out and save them. These are gonna be nice, handy things for spraying stuff. Now let's go for some bigger weeds. We'll be using Woodland Scenics Coarse Turf Medium Green. Okay, put them in the lid. So you can just pinch them out. Just make sure you don't hit the rails. Just sprinkle them on. Okay, that's enough. And now we're also going to use Woodland Scenics Coarse Turf Burnt Grass to give it just a hint of different flavor. Oh, I don't know if flavor is the right word. A hint of different color. There, that's slightly better. Starting to get cooking terms in since I used a cooking utensil. Something that was originally used for cooking. Now this burnt grass might really be, this burnt turf could really be nice if, like, you're modeling where they recently sprayed it with some Roundup or something, so it's all dead. That could be a real interesting look. So, we got all that down. So now it's time to start gluing it down. Okay, first thing, we will wet it down with 70% isopropyl alcohol. Once again, this is to break the tension of the ballast so that, and ground form, so that when you add the glue, it will flow off. It will wick through all the granules a lot easier. And thus, it will help it to, it should help to glue it all a whole lot better. Okay, now it's time for gluing. Now we're going to be using essentially Woodland Scenic Cement, although this is in my own home brew. It is about 50% water, 50% Elmer's white glue, the glue-all version, with a drop or two of dish soap, which creates essentially the exact same thing, and you get basically the exact same results for a lot less. And I'm actually almost out. I'm gonna have to make up another batch. So, once again, I'm using a little cup or something, with which I could just pour it in so that, number one, when it's low like that, it's hard to get your pipette down there, but also then you have it right here, and if you do happen to spill, no big deal. You didn't spill the entire bottle. Okay, it's all glued down, and I had exactly the right amount of glue, fortunately. So, okay, that is going to have to be it for today. So next time, we're going to work on ballasting the main line. Show you how I'm going to do that. Then after that, we're going to show you how to ballast a turnout, which is by far the most tricky part of ballasting. So, looks like this is going to be a Ballasting Trilogy. So, if you like this video, please feel free to leave a like or subscribe. If you do subscribe, make sure you hit the little bell icon so that you receive notifications when I release new content. So, until next time, keep working on those model railroads, keep having fun, and until next time, keep your trains on the tracks.